What's going on, guys? Today's video, we're gonna be working on this 1997 Dodge Ram 1500 SST. So if you guys are new to the channel, this truck, we picked it up almost, no, not quite a year, but about half a year ago. It was pretty much abandoned, and it only, believe it or not, has 21,000 miles, even though the paint looks how it is. Story goes, I guess they turned it into some sort of a race truck or toy and really modded the engine, and then it essentially blew up. And the last time that this thing ran was like in 99 or 2000, and it's been sitting for a lot of years. So I even ran the Carfax on it. It all checks out. But what we're gonna do here, if you guys haven't already seen the videos, we have a Gen 3 HEMI in there. So we have a 5.7 in there. We made the engine mounts for it. Got that all sitting in here. We also have it currently mated to a 727 transmission, but I don't know for how long that is gonna sit in there for. What I wanna focus on today's video is just a little bit of housekeeping stuff and getting some stuff organized on the truck itself. So we haven't really spent much time cleaning up other stuff, and I want to go to the junkyard in a few minutes because I found a junkyard that has a tank and hopefully some leaf springs. I'll show you guys afterwards, but these leaf springs, even you can tell by the shape of them, like it goes up here and then back down, like they're completely just flattened out, and you can probably see by the shape right here, this thing is like completely just collapsed in the rear. So I want to get some new leaves. We can always work on lowering it later with some hangers and stuff, but I at least need some leaves that have some sort of spring in them because these ones are sacked out. Also, you will notice right here, somebody has installed an aftermarket fuel system, but they've drilled a hole in the tank, and I'm sure you can probably see by this stain here, it is leaking. So I want to go pick up that tank. So I found a tank for 45 bucks. And I'm going to be taking off all this fuel system because we're going to be using a newer drop-in Holley fuel system. So we are going to be doing that so I can get a stock tank and we can do things properly. What I do want to do right now is I want to disconnect the bed mounts. So take all the bolts out that hold the bed on, lift the bed up, and also we will be taking out this tank. So I suppose I can just drop the tank from the bottom since we've got the lift here. I hope there's nothing in it. Who knows at this point what is in there. Hopefully it's all evaporated, but I want to get this out, so let me start cleaning up some of this stuff. So I did take off one strap and loosen this one, and luckily the tank does appear to be loose. So I'm going to lower this down and then we'll disconnect it and just get rid of all this old stuff that we are no longer going to use.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get it.
Man, oh man. So there actually is a little bit of liquid in here, but it's not heavy. So this is what I was telling you about. They just completely disconnected this, and they were not using any of that stuff. And a little bit of, I don't know, just rubbish in here. Oh my God, check this out. So this is how they were running their fuel system. So they tapped into the wires here, and I guess somehow ran that over to that fuel pump there. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna disconnect the AN lines right here, and I'm gonna get all this off the frame because we no longer need this stuff, and then I can get this tank out of here, and then we'll go on the road and hopefully pick up the new tank.
In this life, I'm crazy, I'm bad. Doing no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad.
Yeah.
Baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Shit on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me.
All right. So old tank is out, and I still have to clean up hoses and remove hoses, but got rid of the fuel pump and the fuel filter. That stuff is over here. But I'm super happy with the undercarriages, you guys. Like, with the exception of this old exhaust and stuff, like the actual frame and everything is in real good shape. So I am pretty happy once we get the bed off and power wash this thing, and then kind of just give it a light dusting with black paint. This thing is gonna clean up really nice. So, and like even all the lines and stuff, like everything's in super good shape. So we are gonna be in good shape once we get rid of the crustiness. So Let's go ahead and get that fuel tank, make sure it's the right one. Hopefully they have some leaf springs for us as well, so that we can kind of get this thing just at least sitting right. Not that it really makes a difference, but let's go ahead and get some stuff. Okay, so we're in the Eco Diesel, and we are in Auburndale. This is where all the junkyards are, and this is where the crackheads come out. Look at this. This guy's tripping. He's over here doing hand gestures like ra-da-da-da-da-da a minute ago. Let's see. What's he going to do? Hey, yo, hey, yo. Okay, so we're here at the scrappy yard. Let's see what they got. All right, here's the Ram, but this is a different tank for some reason. So the hoses come out in a different spot. Mine are both right here. Okay, so we're on our way back. We did end up getting a tank because it was the wrong one, and then I was gonna try to get leaf springs, but when I asked the guy how much for leaf springs, he said $200 for used leaf springs, which made no sense to me. So tomorrow we're gonna go and hit the U-Pullet yard. They've got some Ram 1500s. They also have they have a bunch of Ram 1500s, so hopefully we can get the leaf springs in the gas tank. It's like $26 each leaf spring, so it might be 50 bucks or so for 2 leaf springs. And then I think it's like $82 for a gas tank if we can find the right one. I'm gonna go back right now though, and hopefully we can pop the bed off and start cleaning some of that stuff like I was mentioning. Let's see what we can get done. Okay, so we're back in the shop, and what I'm gonna do now is let's go ahead and remove everything that is attaching the bed to the frame so we can lift this thing off. So we've got our taillight harnesses. There should be a disconnect somewhere around here. There usually is at least. So we'll get all this disconnected. That way this can come off. And I gotta find the plug, but I'll do that. And then I'm gonna take all the bolts out that are fastening the bed to the frame. So here, and there's gonna be a series of them all the way along here, another one here. So we'll zip all those out, and then we can lift the bed off.
I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious. I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes.
All right, guys, so I'm pretty happy to tell you guys that all the bolts did come out. So all the ones for the bed, they came out beautifully. I also took off the nuts here for the rear bumper because I'm gonna yank that as well. It'll just make it easier to clear the bed when we take it off. So we'll take off the back bumper. Disconnected our wiring harnesses. It's kind of weird on this vehicle. You would think that the disconnect would be right here, but they actually have the harness clipped in across the bed for a while, so I had to pop those out with the little Christmas tree clips. Other thing too is there was some random wire that I cut out. Wasn't stock, but they had it running. I don't know if you'll be able to see it right here. Looks like they were running it over to the tail light, so I don't know what that was for. Maybe some sort of line lock, or who knows what they were doing. And then they had it go through the floor here, so I just took that off because obviously this is some hack job stuff. And everything else, we're gonna clean up all this later, but I just kind of want to get things somewhat buttoned up and cleaned so that I can yank this thing and we can, like I said, just clean all this crud out of here. So she's pretty much ready to pull the bed. So let's put this thing down, take the bumper off, and then hopefully we can lift the bed off.
Change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame. Yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up.
All right, so I just used that little welding table just to kind of scoot it onto there before I took it off here. Everything has to be repainted, as you know, you guys, but one thing I will say is they definitely do not make bumpers like they used to. This weighs a lot more than a 4th gen bumper. I'm not sure if we might almost seeing it without it, and I think a roll pan would probably look pretty nice on this with the stripes, but let me know what you guys think down below. Anyways, let's continue bringing this thing down. All right, so she's down on the ground, and this is what I was saying about it riding like this. Like these rear leaves are just, it's pretty much framed out. If I show you guys, it doesn't even have an axle flip on it. And I don't know if you guys, there you guys can probably see, it's almost bottomed completely out. So these springs are absolutely just shot. So we will lower it properly, but these leaves are done. Anyways, let's go ahead. We're gonna slide it forward and then I can lift it up Typically how I like to do it is put the arms over top of the bed, put straps to the hooks on the bed, and then lift it. If you try to like lift it off this sheet metal is usually not that strong, and you can actually buckle your fenders here, whatever you want to call it, your bedside. If you try to lift it just off this seam here, you can buckle it. So it's better just to lift it from the actual mounting points in the bed, and you can just pick it up.
I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got cash in the bag, stadium packed.
All right, it's the next day, so let's roll this thing out and let's pressure wash this. It actually doesn't look that bad, you guys. It is in really good shape. It just, like I said, from little critters and whatever from it sitting around, it's got a lot of, you know, dirt and stuff, but it's in pretty good shape. So let's roll it forward. Let's pressure wash this thing. Okay guys, so she is all cleaned up, and it cleaned up very well. One thing I wanted to point out, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna let this dry out here in the sun. We're gonna head over to the U-Pull-It yard to get the leaf springs and then hopefully a fuel tank. But one interesting thing is, remember I told you guys I need leaves? It looks like somebody removed a leaf spring here, so you can see clearly that the band is not tight anymore. So that's probably why, and you can see this load spring here. I don't know if they flipped it or what they did here, but something's going on here. I think probably a spring got removed. Also kind of cool is it does have a lowering shackle. So you can see here it's got the adjustable holes, so we can actually lower it. I know another popular thing for these trucks is to flip the axle on the spring, so potentially we can do that, but right now it looks like it's perfectly fine as far as ride height, but as soon as you put the bed on this and put anything in the bed, this thing just completely bottoms out on the frame. So we're gonna go ahead, do that, and let's get moving. Also, we'll pick up some black paint so that we can dust this frame and make it look as good as new. All right, we've arrived. Look at that 3rd gen. Never seen that thing before. So we are at the U-Pull-It yard, and hopefully we can find what we need in here. Okay, so we're in, and right here at the front, I see some leaf springs. Those actually, it does look similar. I should have took a count. I wonder if I have a picture. But these leaf springs are definitely ready to go. They look a lot more round than the other ones, but we could potentially grab these leaves off this guy here, but we'll see what else we see. Oh, is that our gas tank? Let me see. Check this out, you guys. It's actually got at least one header in here. Might be maybe a Gibson. I don't see any name on it. Well, it's just eBay header. I was almost wondering if it was gonna have a kegger on it or an M1, but here's the other header here. Oh, there's a little name plate. Let's see what it is. I think it says Hedman headers. Okay, this tank has the 2 separate hoses, so it's not quite the same, but probably could make it work. And the other thing, this is a 4-wheel drive, so I gotta double check on these springs. These might be a little too heavy duty for us. I believe there's a difference between the 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive rear springs. Okay, we found this 96, but she is pretty beat, so probably will work. And it looks like it has the correct tank, but she's definitely a little bit beat. Oh, and the tank is not good. So that one's out of the count. Possibly might be able to take the leaves off this one, but let's see what she's got on the clock. The dash is completely obliterated. 262, so that's quite a bit of miles. Not that you're really gonna find much lower, but we'll see what else we can find before we decide on our springs. Okay, it's a 96 2500. I think it has the correct tank on it because it's actually a single cab and the same size bed as ours, even though it's a 2500. It's a gasser. But the tank is half hanging, so I'm not sure if there's somebody started taking it and found an issue with it. I'm just gonna see if there's another vehicle here first before we decide to yank this one. All right, guys, I swear I couldn't make this up if I tried. So I got this tank out of this thing, and it does the correct tank. You can see there's got the 2 outlets there. It actually has this funny little adapter harness to go from a newer pump to an older pump. But then as soon as I got it out, I noticed this. So it's not even, it's like a machined, like it's not a puncture, but it's leaking gas out of this here. So I don't even think this tank is any good, which is unfortunate, but yeah, that's what I'm up against. All right, boys. Well, I don't even think I'm gonna bother taking the leafs off this thing. The tank's bad on this one, tank is bad on the other one. And to get the leafs off of this one, which looks like it's not that good of a truck, to be honest, I'm gonna see if I can find it in a little bit better shape that maybe hasn't been beat up as much. So let's go ahead to the next U-Pull-It yard. Okay, we're now at Central Florida Pick and Pay over here in Orlando. Let's see if we can find one here. Look at this. This is the bougiest pull and pick and pay I've ever found. You can buy hot dogs here. Okay, so I found this one. This one appears to be the right one, but look at the drive shaft. She kind of skipped over something, so I'm just gonna take a look, see if I can find a different one. If not, this one looks like it might be what we need. Here's another one, but I just took a quick peek. This tank is crushed in, even though it looks to be in a bit better shape. These leaves aren't that bad looking though. Let's see what else we can find to see if there's any easier tasks for us. So this one's a long bed, so that one doesn't have the right tank. This one's a short bed, 01, but look at this, doubled up spacers. But it unfortunately has a different spigot right there. So I don't know, unless I just take the whole dang thing. On the other thought, this tank is crushed in, so forget this one as well. Kind of cool though, they got the whole pick apart here, and then they got literally have a go-kart track right here too. Makes me miss my old CRG with the 125cc Rotax, a 2-stroke. Should I get back into it? I don't know. All right guys, well, scratch that idea. Looks like this tank has a hole drilled in it. So I don't know if this particular yard likes to empty their tanks, but yeah, I'm out of luck again. Okay, so I'm gonna take the leaf springs out of this one because it shows it only has 129,000 miles on it. And leaf springs look to be in pretty decent shape, and the hardware is moving, so they look to be pretty decent. So let me see if I can get these off. Well, this has been fun. So trying to get that bolt out without taking the tank out to slide it up backwards, I managed to just pry and kind of dent the plastic tank over a bit just so I could get this out. And now she's finally almost free, it looks like. All right, so front is out. Axle is disconnected. Now this is the next fun one. There's some sort of trailer hitch aftermarket welded to the frame, and I can't get past that bolt. And the trailer hitch is blocking the other bolt from coming out, so I'm fighting with this right now. Success! I managed to beat that bolt past that, so now I can take this out. Okay, success. So that looks like, in my opinion, a pretty decent looking leaf spring, and we'll compare them to the other ones. The other ones are flat back on our truck. All right, well, we didn't get a tank, but we got some decent leaf springs, so let's get out of here. All right, so it's obviously nighttime, you guys. I burned up a ton of time going to multiple pull-it yards, and it didn't end up with a tank. We still got the old one with the hole in it, but I did get the leaf springs, and this thing is now dry. So, and I also picked up some paint from the store, so we'll be able to get this thing looking brand new. I'm gonna wait till light in the morning. We'll roll this thing out, paint it outside, and continue from there. Okay, so it's the next morning. Check out this. I cleaned up the new leaf springs that we picked up last night, just degreased them so we could paint them as well. But look at the difference, you guys. These ones are just absolutely dang flat, and they even they go down before they come back up. I don't know if somebody heated these up maybe and to try to get the truck lower, but they're definitely collapsed. I was initially wrong about this, so I guess these second gens, they can come with either 4 leaves plus the overload or 3, so that's why this is like that. So nobody took anything out of here. These ones are just literally straight up collapsed. So anyways, let's push this thing out, and I'm gonna paint this. Okay, I may have found our fuel tank. It's up here in the second gen. Let's see. All right, guys, so let me show you guys what we got going on, because we got a ton going on, but I want to get this video up for you guys. So the old tank is out right there. This is another side project that I can't talk about right now, but that's what that is. If you want to make your guesses down below. Over here, here's a new tank that we picked up. So I cleaned it all up, cleaned it out. Actually, there's a bunch of nasty old fuel in it, but she is in tip-top shape after washing it up. So super happy about that. I ended up finding it for 50 bucks. Over here, I'll show you guys what I'm gonna do, and you guys can let me know if you guys want to watch me do it or you want me just to do it off camera, but something I want to do regardless. I've got this random metal skid here, and what I'm gonna do is I need to probably weld it together and put some wheels on it so that I can set this down and I can actually push this off to the side. Because part of the issue I have right now is this is occupying our lift, and I really don't need to put the bed on it. The bed would just be more of a nuisance, if anything, because we still have to run plumbing, electrical, all that stuff. And here is what it looks like. This thing came out so good, you guys. Like, check this out. So I didn't paint the leaf springs because we're putting the new ones on. That's another thing I have to do in the next video. But again, I want to get this out for you guys so you guys are up to date and you guys know what's going on. But this came out absolutely amazing. So I went with a semi-gloss, which I think was the right ticket, and you can see all in here. Hopefully you guys can see that well on the camera. And we'll probably end up putting a B&M diff cover on the back of this, and I got to see what's going on inside this diff, see what gear ratio is in it, if it's just the original limited slip or they put hopefully something better in there. Everything else we have, like that has a Detroit True Track in it. The Hellcat Ram has a Detroit True Track. They're all 9 1/4. So probably would want to do something of that nature. The other thing too is they welded these hangers. I don't know why, but well, here's the factory hangers, but then they welded these ugly hangers right there. So I'm gonna pop those off and then I'll finish painting underneath, get rid of this old crusty exhaust. There was no point in, trying to clean this up. We're gonna end up doing something nicer and better with Flowmaster. But yeah, a lot on the way. So I'm pretty excited, you guys. This thing is cleaning up phenomenally, and I have the new leaf springs and the fuel tank, and we'll probably do some more cleaning up in the next video. So I'm thinking what we'll probably end up doing is we'll take the cab off and then we'll get the frame, everything clean. I want to get this thing clean slate, and then we will really start putting new parts on it. There's no sense of putting new parts on it if we don't have the chassis and everything clean and ready to go. So probably do some other stuff. I also have another set of wheels with tires on it because these have 4 mismatching tires that are all losing air at the moment. So I have another set of SST wheels that actually has 4 matching tires. So at some point we'll do that. We also got to see what's going on with the brakes and all that stuff. I'm sure we'll have to replace a ton of stuff. So that's pretty much where we're at. What are you guys most excited on this project? This thing is actually kind of fun. I know it might not be as crazy as the Hellcat Swap Dakota or the Ram, at the moment at least. But once we get this thing up and running with the Holley EFI and the 3rd gen HEMI is running in it, then we can start thinking about power adders and how crazy we want to go with this. So super exciting, and it's a little bit different running the Holley EFI on this thing instead of running the Mopar factory controller. So that'll be a new one for me, and I'm excited to share that process with you guys as well. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel and you want to be notified of all the latest videos. Also, make sure you turn on that bell, click on that bell and set it to all so you're notified when I post a new video. We'll see you guys on the next one.